We are now live with the Valley of the Wind Legends of the Five Rings one-shot. So let's go around and introduce ourselves to our viewing audience, which again will be probably a very small viewing audience, but one we most appreciate and respect. You want to start, Marshall?
Yeah, sure. My character is named Kai, and he's obviously from Clan Crab. He's Earth Crab, and he's a big, gruff, burly man. His head is almost entirely bald, except for a top knot, and he has some scars from battles past.
All right. Marshall, why don't you introduce yourself out of character as well? Just who are you, where are you from, just for our viewers, and do you have a channel or a blog or anything you want to plug?
No channel, no blog. My name is Sean, actually, and I'm from Toronto.
Okay, so not far from me. I'm just down in Kitchener.
Yeah, you know.
All right, do you want to go ahead, Kyle?
Yep. It's Kyle from Minden, Nevada. Don't have anything to plug. And today I'm playing Hiruma Kensaku. He is Air Crab from Clan Crab. He's half tall, kind of lean build man. You can tell he's always tries to put a smile on his face, be nice. So.
All right. So our two Cooney witch hunters have been traveling. They're doing a survey of their territories, going through the Kawasaki Mountains, investigating these mountainous valleys, making sure that there is no blood sorcery, that there are no demons or evil spirits at work menacing the peasantry. So at the moment it is kind of high summer, so perhaps you've been traveling for months from village to village, from daimyo to daimyo, from castle to castle, just making sure everything is in order. Those people who are known to be infected with the taint of Jigoku, the taint of hell, making sure that they are in good order and good health, that they have not slipped into a demonic state. But now, after your months of traveling, although it has been, again, a broken voyage, so perhaps only a few weeks, if that, since your last stop, you're coming onto the Dayu Valley. This valley is extremely rocky. It's very mountainous. It's high altitude. And the reason that it's important that it's settled at all is that it is a pass between the crab lands and some of the crane lands beyond. So the clan of the crane lies on the other side. It's a very narrow, steep, rocky, precipitous pass. So there's a lot of exposed rock, crags, cliff faces, and not a whole lot of like agriculture or even mining in this area. It hasn't been found to be very rich or prosperous, but they do have some very limited trade. So as you're coming up into the valley, you can see all of this rock. It's very stark. It's very bleak. And it's very hot with the sun baking off of those rocks. You can see kind of scattered huts throughout the valley. You can see a few rope bridges spanning it, a few switchbacks carved into the cliff faces, and you do see a small keep, which must be the province of the local daimyo. So that is where you will have to check in. But it's quite a small kind of keep. It's, again, not a prosperous region, and you're kind of expecting very basic amenities upon your arrival. Now, you would both know that the daimyo's name is Yamashiro Baiko, and he's a very minor lord, so you might not really know a whole lot about him other than just his name, unless you care to make some type of knowledge test as you're coming forward. I believe that could be a lore test, which I believe one of you may have or may not. It also allow courtier or anything else you feel might be appropriate.
Now, my guy's not the sharpest knife in the drawer, so I'm not going to bother.
All right. Any courtier or lore from your character, Kyle, from Hiruma Kensaku?
It doesn't. No, I don't think
Okay.
so.
Like, I have a lore of 1, and then there's a 0. What does that do? Is it a 10 or is it a 1?
That's a 1. Just when I made the characters, that second column is how many points it cost. So you do
okay.
have 1. So if
Yeah,
you
I'll try.
want, okay.
What do
So
I roll?
Roll a single 10-sided, or
10.
actually, let me just
Nope.
just double check. I'm getting used to the system as well. So lore is based off intelligence. So if you have 1, so see what your intelligence is listed at.
Let me have a look. It is 2.
Okay. So it's called the roll and keep system. So your roll, you're adding the totals together and rolling all of those dice. So your intelligence plus your lore. So roll 3 dice, in fact.
Oh, okay.
So keep that 10, but then roll 2 additional dice.
Yep.
So whenever you're making a test, you want to add them together, roll them.
Okay.
But you're
So
not.
that's 19.
Right, but you're not keeping all of the dice.
Oh, okay.
You're only keeping the number that's equal to your attribute. So your intelligence is,
Okay.
you said 2, so you keep the top 2 out of that pool of 3 that you rolled.
Okay, so the lowest number is a 3.
Okay, so drop that guy out of there and keep the other 2 dice. And also, since you said you rolled a 10, these are all 10-siders, but there is exploding dice as well. So on a 10, you roll another 10, and you add that into your whole total.
Okay. That's a 4.
All right. So what does that bring your grand total up to?
20.
All right. So that's quite excellent. So you would be most familiar with Daimyo Yamashiro, with his family. So you know that the Daimyo has been trying to increase his status, but his lands have greatly limited him in this attempt, this endeavor. He's been trying to expand the pass so that he can actually get a caravan through. It's so narrow, in fact, so precipitous that pretty much just messages pass through this valley. So he's been trying to expand that. He has very little capital at his disposal. It's very difficult work. So you know he's an ambitious man, but he hasn't been able to capitalize on his ambition at all. And with that 20, if there is anything else you want to know about him, just ask me, and you probably know it, because with that 20, you're very well versed in his family and his own reputation.
Is he a noble man, or is he bad to his people?
Well, he has so few people to look after. He's that he can't really be tremendously good or evil. So that part of his character has not necessarily been explored to a huge degree. You get the feeling he's kind of stingy with his funds. He's trying to make the most of what he has, but he has so few peasants to draw upon that he can't really risk alienating them and having them run away or die or leave. So he's kind of been forced into the middle path, and That may be by choice or may not be by choice. You're not entirely sure.
That's all the questions I have right now.
All right. So why don't you guys describe how you're making your approach? You're coming up into this rocky valley. What do Kai and Haruma? How do they comport themselves in the sweltering heat of the day on this baking rocks, climbing up towards the keep?
Isn't there a road in the area or a path?
There isn't really. The local traffic mainly goes on ponies, or they climb. It's not like the kind of climb you need pittance for, but it's quite a hike. And if you guys are mounted, you can certainly describe that as well. That will certainly make things a lot easier up until you come to a point where you actually have to physically climb.
Sure, riding a horse.
Okay.
A draft horse up there. And when it gets too steep, I'll see if I can walk the horse up instead.
All right. What about Haruma? Is he mounted? Is he enjoying this stark landscape, or does he find it desolate and depressing?
He kind of has mixed feelings. He enjoys the nature, but it's kind of saddened that nobody, in his current state, nobody's really able to enjoy it.
All right. So yes, looking at those few creatures that do survive, the soaring eagle, the scrambling goat coming up the side of one of the precipices. So certainly finding the best in a desolate landscape is Haruma. And it's not very long before you do come upon the keep of the daimyo, this cedar wood construction. No doubt all of the beams have been imported. There are no forests very close by. So it must have been a great expense, but it's a little bit run down and dilapidated at this point. As I said, the daimyo House Baiko has not been tremendously prosperous. You haven't had to dismount from your horse. It's not quite that steep, but you think this might be kind of the last point before it gets too steep, and that's why they chose to build the keep here. But coming off of your horses, Yamashiro's steward will greet you. He will bow deeply to show his respect and reverence for you. The Kuni witch hunters are well famed as protectors of good and right. And he'll begin to escort you inside. And if you follow him inside, you'll soon come to the Great Hall. Great is kind of stretching it. It's a medium-sized hall, very clean. They have some very nice wood. It's been well maintained, but you do see a few scratches here and there, a few things that they haven't been able to repair to the degree that a wealthier house would. And at the end of his great hall, which is lined with his courtiers and bodyguards, although there's very few of them, you see Yamashiro himself. He's an older gentleman, quite skinny. I believe he's fairly tall if he were standing. He's sitting cross-legged with his kind of rust-red kimono around his shoulders. His armor is displayed behind him, along with his katana. Again, he has white hair, like a white mustache, the shaved pate and top knot of his class. How do you approach Yamashiro and comport yourself before the daimyo? Do you show him great respect and reverence, or do you come in and kind of show yourself to be above dealing with his poor little valley.
Um, Kinsaku will walk up, bow. She'll. What time of day is it? Let's wait quickly.
I think you would have arrived probably very close to noon, so it's really, really hot.
Okay. Okay. So, as I bow, I'll say to him, "Konnichiwa, Yoshio-sama." Don't worry, I want to be speaking Japanese the whole time.
He nods his head, appreciating the respect that you've shown to him.
Kai gives a grunt and a very modest bow. Not even really a bow, just kind of like a very deep head nod.
Mm-hmm. You can see Yamashiro kind of scowls at that. He was kind of happy seeing the respect that Kensaku was showing him, but now he almost has a sour look. What brings you into my humble valley, witch hunters?
Do you want me to be the talker, or do you? I'll say something bad. We're here to find witches and hunt them and slay them.
There are no witches in my valley. There are few enough people in my valley. Anyone tampering in blood sorcery or mayho would be found out immediately. He's certainly being a little bit gruff to you. He hasn't offered you any kind of formal support or a room or a cup of tea or anything. So what's your response to that?
Is this the hospitality you offer to famed witch hunters such as ourselves? Are you not aware of the problems of the messengers that have gone through and not returned?
And you can see him, he gets like this bitter look on his face as you mention hospitality. In his mind, he's clearly showing you all the hospitality that you deserve after not bowing to him properly. But upon mentioning the missing messengers, he kind of goes a little bit pale, and he will say, which messengers is it that you speak of? Can you make I believe it's a courtier test to determine his sincerity? So again, courtier, if you have it, is based on awareness. So
not me.
So if you have courtier, roll the number of.
Oh, courtier. Okay.
Yeah. So roll the number of dice for courtier, plus the number of dice for awareness. But only keep the dice from awareness. The highest dice, keep those. Whatever your awareness is, that many.
So I have an awareness of 3. Do I roll 3 dice? Is that how that works?
Yeah, you can roll 3 and keep all 3.
I don't have courtier though.
That's okay.
That's my result. I just typed it in there.
Okay. So you got 11.
Mm-hmm.
What about Kensaku?
Hold on. My total is 23.
Yeah, I don't think if you're the air crab, I don't think he has courtier, but you can roll your awareness and then keep all of those dice. I think you have 3 if you're the air crab pre-gen.
Aircraft has courtier.
Oh, okay.
I'm looking at.
Oh, you're right. So you have roll 4 dice, keep the highest 3.
Yep.
You got 1 in courtier, and your awareness is 3.
Yep. And total for that would be 23.
All right, so an excellent test. So you can both tell that he's lying. He does know about the messengers being missing. He's claiming that he doesn't know anything about it. And with your higher test there, Kensuke, or Kensaku, excuse me, you believe that you detect just a hint of guilt in his face as well. So he's lying, and you think he's feeling guilty, as if perhaps he's somehow responsible.
Yeah. I will say to him, please, Yamashiro-sama, if you have any information, it would be greatly appreciated.
He turns, he is kind of in this almost staring contest with Kai. He turns towards Kensaku, and you can see some sympathy come over his face, as if he's realizing, you have to travel with this lout with Kai. So he does. That's just a look that comes over his face, like, oh, I'm perhaps judging your party too harshly. And he does say that, though, that, well, there have been rumors among the peasantry, but peasants always spark up rumors of such things. And he
Maybe you should tell us the whole story.
He looks at you as if you're being so incredibly blunt and direct, and he clearly wants to be very indirect in addressing these issues. But he scowls at you again, and he says, "Very well. The peasants have said there's howling, there's screaming coming from the pass at night. Some say they have even seen corpses on the floor of the canyon."
And who are these peasants who are saying this?
Some of our foragers and herbalists. We have few others to go about. We don't support much agriculture here. But those who climb the mountains seeking the feathers of the eagle, who seek the rare flowers that grow along the slopes, and there are a few such, they have said they've heard evil things and they will not go into the pass. Now he's looking like really guilty, as if he knows he should have investigated this earlier, but he clearly did not.
And what have you done to investigate the disappearance of these messengers?
He looks at you again, and you can see him kind of weighing in his mind if he should acknowledge that he knows about the messengers or not, because he hasn't actually acknowledged it yet. And he kind of meets you halfway, and he says, "It has been some time since a messenger arrived through the pass. But it was nothing that I thought out of sorts.
Out of character, about how many messengers have disappeared?
Probably 2 that you've heard rumor of.
And sorry, what was the last thing he said again?
He said, it's true no one has come through recently, but sometimes there's a long time between messengers, so he's claiming that he didn't find that unusual.
Hmm. I look at my colleague and give him a look as along the lines of, help me out in this social situation because I don't know what to ask him, and I'm just going to piss him off.
Right.
Because my character is antisocial and insensitive.
Uh,
Yeah.
Does Kensaku make any rejoinder towards Yamashiro?
Yeah, I'm just thinking exactly what to ask.
If the silence is weighing for very long at all, Yamashiro will kind of look back to you, Kensaku, and say, of course, you have my countenance, witch hunters, during your stay. My home is your home. If I have been remiss in ignoring these peasant rumors and superstitions, then I shall do all I can to set it right.
Thank you, my lord. And I apologize for my companion's behavior. He's not very sociable, but in a fight, he is second to none.
And Yamashiro kind of nods as if that's not really something he'd considered. You get the feeling he's way out in the boonies here, and the things other daimyo and lords would have to deal with all the time are very uncommon for him to have to deal with. He doesn't have many peasants. He doesn't really fight battles. He really doesn't do a lot. You get the feeling that he's got very limited duties and very limited experience.
I think we need to question the peasants.
Yeah, yes, that's what I was about to suggest.
Shall I have them gathered here, or do you intend to go out and meet them in their homes?
Summon them here, please.
Of course. And my steward shall have a repast for you. And he bows in kind of a dismissive manner, although respectful. And then his steward does step forward, and he also bows and begins to show you off to where they've had some food and beverages provided, if you follow him.
Yes, yes. Backing just a bit. When Yamashiro bows, I will bow as well, slightly lower than he does, in order to show respect.
All right.
I'll show a bit more respect than I did last time. An ounce.
1 ounce of respect. You can see he really does. He does appreciate that because you've kind of found him out in being somewhat negligent in his duties. So he knows that a lot of his clout has vanished.
He has no street cred.
That's for sure. But the steward will indeed show you to another room. While you're waiting, of course, you can be bathed. You can have clean clothes. You can have food, drink, whatever it is that you desire. After the sweltering heat and the dust of your journey. Do you do anything in the palace? Well, the keep, it's not much of a palace, but before the peasants begin to arrive?
I look at it and see how defensible it is.
It's not very defensible. The good part is that anyone coming into the valley would be kind of, running uphill. So, I mean, that's good, but it doesn't have much in the way of like a passable wall or palisade or anything like that.
Is there a high tower or something in it that I can see the valley pass from the distance?
There is a watchtower. So if you've got the floor of the valley and kind of the steep walls, you have to go up a switchback, cross a rope bridge, and they've got a watchtower set up on the opposite side of the canyon of the valley from the keep. It is a great vantage point. You can see out onto the plains. You can see the valley. The pass itself is very narrow and winding, so you can't see much of that going uphill. But you definitely will be able to see anything coming from from outside the mountains, a long, long way off. And
So
Yamashiro has kept that manned. So he might be negligent in a lot of areas, but at least he does have a lookout.
I'm gonna go up there, and if there's a guard up there, I'm gonna talk to the guard.
All right. He's very, very respectful towards you. He'll probably drop to his knees, touch his forehead onto the floor to show respect for someone of the samurai caste.
I acknowledge him, ask him to get up, and I just question him if he's seen anything unusual come through the pass.
No, he'll pretty much tell you there's been very, very little traffic of late. Certainly, no one has come in from this side.
And if he's ever seen the messenger go through the pass.
He has, but not within the last probably 2 months. He does tell you there was an unusual incident, however, where a messenger came through from the Crane lands and then departed immediately after treating with Yamashiro. Now that's unusual because Yamashiro didn't send anyone else out. So whoever it was only wanted to talk to Yamashiro, which is very unusual because Yamashiro is so far down on the pecking order, no one usually cares to talk to him.
I think I've drained that conversation dry.
Mm-hmm.
I just go and get some food and take a bath and wait for the peasants to be summoned.
All right.
Yeah. I will also bathe, got some food, and I'm actually going to talk to the steward, see if he knows anything.
All right. The steward is, of course, very respectful. He bows at the waist. He's probably also from a very, very minor house, but he is technically of the samurai caste. Technically.
I'll ask him, do you know anything about these disappearance of the messengers?
No, nothing, my lord. There have been no messengers from this side of the valley in some months, and no one has come through from the Crane lands in some months either. It's been very quiet here in our beautiful valley.
I see. Thank you for sharing.
All right, so it's not very long then before the peasants begin arriving. basically a runner has gone out and run around to all of the little shacks and huts and told the peasants to come in so that they can be questioned regarding the past, the strange occurrences therein. So unless you have instructed otherwise, Yamashiro has had them assembled in his great hall. So as a group, so there's this large group, maybe 20, maybe 30 peasants, probably a lot closer to 20 than 30, have been assembled in the hall.
I would like a private room to interview them, but I don't know about my colleague. One by one.
Yeah, at first I'd like to address them all.
Okay.
Greetings. We do not mean to keep you from your homes, but we are investigating the strange occurrences that have been happening in these past few months. Anyone knows about these events, please come forward. If you feel uncomfortable saying what you know in front of a group, we have a private room set aside so that you may tell your story away from prying ears.
All right. So you can tell, even without a courtier test, you can tell a lot of the peasants look very frightened, like they're very afraid. They weren't really that nervous before you started speaking, but as you're telling them, that what you're here to address, you can see a lot of them like looking at each other with worried expressions. No one says anything though, and for a moment now, no one steps forward, and then you see this old man, this craggy old man. He's been living in the mountains for 60 years. He's almost turning into a mountain. He kind of slams his hands on the floor and pushes himself up to his feet. If none of you will speak of it, then I will. I'm not afraid. And he looks up towards Kensaku. It says, the spirits are angry with us. Dayu Valley has become an accursed place.
Tell me, what do you mean by that?
Our offerings are not being accepted to the kami. We have seen great flocks of black crows flying through the passes. We've heard wailing in the night. There have been disappearances.
Can you tell me more about these disappearances? Who disappeared? Where did they disappear?
You see, he's looking over towards another man, a younger man, probably in his early 40s, and he gestures towards him. Shiro, tell them about your son, Shiro. And Shiro has this very mournful expression on his face, and he kind of sits up, and he looks up towards the daimyo who's standing behind you guys with this kind of a regretful expression. If you look back, you can see Yamashiro is very angry. He's sitting there. He's not interrupting you. You can see he's like fuming and almost like shaking. But the younger man Shiro does begin speaking, and he says, "My son went to gather a wayward member of our flock, and the spirits took him." And you can hear there's like a hush falling over the peasants. "I heard him scream. I saw him fall from the mountain face. My son would never have fallen if not for an evil spirit. Someone in the valley has done something to anger the spirits."
Where exactly did your son fall from, Shiro-san?
It was near the entrance to the pass. We have all stayed away from there ever since.
Arigato. Does anyone else have anything they would like to say?
You can tell they're all very nervous, afraid. They're sad about the death of Shiro's son. Um, Clearly, they're like looking up at the daimyo, at Yamashiro. It's supposed to be part of his job to make sure the spirits, the gods, are not angry with the valley. You get the feeling they've told him about this, and he hasn't really done anything about it. That's the feeling that you get.
I look at the people and say, the government sent us here to solve this problem. We can't destroy these evil spirits unless you give us all the information you know. Speak freely.
You can say you can tell by looking around. None of them really has like a lot of like solid information to go on. The offerings have not been accepted. There have been strange screams and moans in the night, strange winds. People have gone missing. People have fallen from the mountainside, but no one really seems to have any idea what they've done to anger the spirits. So there's a lot of confusion and fear in the group.
How many people have died?
Probably only 2 or 3. Not many, but I mean it's a small population, so it's a high percentage of the population, but there's not a lot of people there in the first place. So it sounds like one person just went missing, has never been seen again.
Who's the last person to have died or disappeared?
This probably was Shiro's son, Kenta, who fell off the mountain.
I'd like to go see that site. So I would like somebody to take me there. Take us there when we're done Q&A to investigate the area.
All right. Shiro nods his head. He says, I will show you where my son fell.
Arigato, Shiro-san. And he'll address the rest of the group. The rest of you are dismissed. If you remember anything else, please don't not hesitate to come to either of us.
All right, so you can tell they're still very worried. They've had this brought up to the daimyo. Nothing's been done. You guys say you're going to do something and help them, but you can tell they're very worried and nervous. They don't know exactly what the problem is in the first place, so that only makes things worse. But they do kind of like shuffle out if that's how you dismiss them.
Yes.
Okay. So do you guys want to take like a 5-minute break, hit the washroom, stretch your legs? We'll come back and we'll be going into the Kawasaki Mountains and the Dayu Pass. Does that sound good?
Sure.
Yep.
Okay. So I'll see you guys in 5.
Yep.
looks like everyone's back.
Did that other person, someone said they might join late, or?
This one had, but I don't think they're actually going to.
Oh, okay.
So I think that's it. So when Kyle comes back, we'll jump into part 2. I don't think it'll be a super long one shot, but it'll get our feet wet with the rule set at least.
I'm back.
Okay. So do you want to join our heroes inside the canyon, or do you have anything more in the castle itself?
Unless Sean has anything he wants to do in the castle.
Nah, I'm good.
Okay.
Okay.
Off the pass we go. I would like to have a conversation with my companion along the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, Kai-san, what do you think about all this?
Scared peasants? Who knows? They could just be superstitious. The missing messengers has me concerned. How about yourself?
Yes, it's quite strange. The steward is telling me that messages have there have been no messages from either side of the pass. Seems it might be similar occurrences on the other side.
All
My
right.
character is not a talker, so he's not gonna. Not at all.
So as you guys are making your way up into Dayu Pass, in theory, on the road to the Crane Lands, accompanied by Shiro the Goat Herd, it's getting ever more precipitous. Shiro pretty much told you right away, you can't bring your horses. They'll be useless very fast, very quickly. So presumably you've left them behind, and now you're still having this steep hike at parts, having to scramble up rock faces. Shiro, of course, knows all of the ins and outs of the valley, so he's showing you where there are handholds carved into the rock that you can climb up, where there are ledges wide enough for you to shuffle along the face and get around to a broader pathway. At one point, he even takes you into a cave and then up, and you come out on another plateau as he's taking you ever higher up. And the heat is starting to dissipate as you get higher up. And he's taking you to, it probably would take about 2 hours of fairly strenuous hiking, climbing to start to come up on this location where his son Kenta fell from the rock face, and now you can look down and you see that you're hundreds of feet above the floor of the valley, and it's starting to narrow into this winding canyon. The other side of the valley, in fact, is now only about 100 feet, and you can see away from you, and you can see it narrowing as you go ahead. Why don't you describe how exactly is your character outfitted? Are you wearing armor? Do you have a naginata? Do you have light armor? Do you have bows? Or how are you outfitted and equipped?
I have it's styled in the traditional samurai armor, but it is made of leather. I have bow strapped to my back, and my two swords at my hips, long sword, short sword.
My character's wearing heavy armor, and he's carrying his absolutely lovable war club, which he adores, and he has a small katana and a wakizashi,
All right, excellent.
which I assume is like a dagger.
The wakizashi is like a short sword. It's like
That's what I
it's
thought.
like a smaller version of a katana, basically.
Yeah.
The samurai soul is said to reside inside of his wakizashi, but the katana is a little bit more deadly and practical for fighting. But many samurai will not surrender their wakizashi. They will not remove it from their person under any circumstance. But as you're following Shiro, you're continually impressed with his agility. As he looks like he's in his early 40s. He's very craggy and rough, but he knows how to get his fingers and his toes into all these little crevasses, and he has exceptional balance, very good strength. So perhaps you could think to yourself, he would have made a good samurai if he had not been born into the lower castes. So as he's bringing you up, can you make perception tests? And that's one of your core attributes. There's no skill attributed. So it's under your water ring, I believe. I think you're both at 2, I think.
Yep. My total for that was 18.
15, excellent.
18.
18, most excellent.
Mine's a 16, as I typed in the chat.
All right, great. So as you're coming up, you can see Shiro wiping soot away from his eyes, some dust, and he points up, and the goat that had climbed up this ledge. My son Kenta went after it. He went just around that crag. I lost sight of him, and then I heard him scream and fall. And he points down at the towards the floor of the valley, which is now like 150 feet below. You see some scraggly bushes down there, but as he's pointing this out and showing you the area, you both notice there's actually become a preponderance of wildlife around you. Very specifically, you notice that there are a lot of black crows of quite large size and menacing aspect in the area. Not flying, but just perched across the valley from you, along some of the crags. There's a lot of these big black crows around this area.
How close are they?
The closest one is probably like 60 feet away,
Okay.
on your side of the valley, up above you on a crag. You can make a lore or a hunting test. See if that means anything to you.
I think my colleague might have hunting, right?
I believe
Yes, I
the
do.
aircraft does, yeah.
Yes.
I'm terrible at this.
So you got 1 die of lore.
I'll roll it.
You can always add that. So remember, you got your intelligence is what lore is tied to. So add
I
them.
rolled it 2.
Excellent.
fine for hunting. Total for hunting check was 14.
All right. So with hunting, you would know that it's somewhat unusual to see any crows in this area. The niche that a crow provides in the food chain in this area, you'd be more likely to see vultures. You know, it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility to see a crow, but very many crows would be very unusual, and there's quite a preponderance of them here. So either something's, you know, from a hunting perspective, you're thinking something's either got rid of the vultures, or there's a preponderance of carrion here, or something else is going on. But it does appear a little bit unusual.
I'll definitely be keeping an eye on the crows, but not going to do anything at the moment. I will turn to Shiro. Arigato, Shiro-san, for taking us this far. I believe we're able to go the rest of the way, investigate. You may return to your herd.
Thank you, Witch Hunter. I hope that you are successful in finding out what is menacing our valley.
I inspect the ground. If there's any tracks or anything.
No, you're quite certain that you don't see anything. It hasn't rained for a while, so there's a lot of dust and grit around, and you'd think any tracks or prints would be pretty easily visible, and you don't see any. So you're pretty sure that there's nothing has passed this way in quite a while. So Shiro will begin to climb away from you, and as he's kind of going around the edge of the precipice, so you kind of lose sight of him, and you see some of those crows take flight, and they kind of fly around that ledge in the same direction that he just went in.
I'll follow after the crows, but kind of keeping my distance a bit.
All right.
I'll do the same.
So can you guys make stealth or hunting tests or any other applicable test to follow him unobserved?
I'll let him go ahead, but yeah, I'm loud. So
I'll make stealth check.
Okay. So remember, add your stealth skills to your agility. Roll all of those dice, but only keep the number of dice that your agility granted you. So if your stealth is 2 and your agility is 3, so you roll 5, keep 3.
I'm gonna wait a little while and then I'll follow my colleague.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just. Do I need to roll since I'm waiting even longer?
No.
Or? Okay.
No, if you're not being stealthy, you don't need to make the test.
Okay.
Okay, total for stealth was 24.
All right, very stealthy. So as you're following him, stealthily, maybe you've motioned for Kai to kind of wait for a minute where he is, and then you kind of follow after Shiro. As you're kind of going along the side of this ledge, this very precipitous foothold beneath you, you're coming around the side of the mountain. You can see Shiro. He's already kind of starting to make his way down. He's maybe 30 or 45 feet away from you. But you can see those crows kind of circling around him, and he's completely oblivious to this. He's just climbing down, kind of minding his own business. And you can see the crows, as they start to circle, they're flying faster and faster, and they're getting tighter and tighter with each other until it starts to get difficult to discern one from another. And at a certain point, it almost seems like all of these black feathers just seem to merge, and there's only one enormous crow left, and it kind of dive bombs towards Shiro. It catches itself, spreading its wings out, and then blasts its wings forward, and this tremendous gust and rush of air comes over Shiro, and you hear the cawing of this crow, this enormous crow, and the cawing just echoes through the canyon. And you can see Shiro is buffeted by the wind, and his hand slips, and he's just hanging by one hand, trying to pull himself back up. What do you do?
So we're still on the cliff face, right?
Yeah, Kensaku's climbed around. He can see this. Kai, you weren't following. You heard the crow. You probably feel the wind around the corner. You might even hear Shiro call out, "Ah!" But you don't actually see it. You're just around the ledge.
Yeah. I'll quickly pull out my bow and shout to Kai, "Kai, get over here!"
All right.
I
So,
start moving on the ledge a little faster towards him.
okay. So Kensaku, can you make a? I'm trying to see what the archery skill is called again. It's like Kyujutsu, which I believe you have 3 points in, plus your reflexes, which are 3. So you're rolling 6, keep 3. So 6K3, I believe is your roll.
But I only have 1 D10, so I have to roll this
That's always fun.
6 times. Total is 23.
All right. Let me just compare that to my stat block here, because they will have a target number. 1 sec. Okay, 23 is that's a hit. And I'm trying to remember, is it 5 is a raise or a degree of success? Is that correct? I think that it is. I think if you beat their target number by 5, you get an extra damage dice. Or you can execute a maneuver against them. Now, as it's a giant crow, I can't think of any maneuver, but go ahead and roll your damage, and if you want to, add an extra damage dice, or think of a maneuver that you could attempt against it. And I believe your damage, let me just pull that up here. For your Yumi bow, oh, what kind of arrow are you using? You've got armor piercing, flesh cutters, and willow leaf. Flesh cutter is probably the best thing for an unarmored opponent.
Yeah, I think I'll do use a flesh cutter arrow. And can I, instead of using a maneuver against the crow, could, as I'm shooting a giant crow, maneuver towards Shiro to try and save him?
No, it's kind of like a combat maneuver. So it's like you could try to disarm or knock him down or something like that. So I mean, if you want to try to shoot him in the wing and force a fly test, you could do that, or you could add an extra die of damage.
Okay.
Now the way the damage works for your arrow, for the flesh cutter, it's the default is 2 keep 3, but with any arrow, you're adding the strength bonus of your bow. And for your bow, it's going to be 2 for you. So you're basically rolling 4 and keeping 3. So 4K3.
This says on this it says the things for the Yumiko is 3. So.
Yeah, the maximum is, so if you had 3 strength, you would, but you only have
I understand. Okay.
yeah, you only have 2 strength. So if you were a little stronger, you could do more damage with your bow, but you're of average strength.
Okay. And I think I will target a crow's wing.
Okay. You can use the I don't know if it's easier, but you can use the dice roller on the app if it allows you to do that. Like on the left side of your screen, it should say Dice Stream. I hope you could use that if it's easier for you. It might let you roll the dice.
I'm on phone, so I can't.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah, so total is 18.
All right, excellent. And you said your maneuver is going to be to try to force him to make a fly test or fall out of the sky. That's correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So
I figured it would be help out my companion. I don't think he'd be able to reach the crow with his club otherwise.
Yeah. All right. So describe how. Actually, why don't describe how you dispatch the giant crow?
Okay. So upon seeing the giant crow suddenly materialize from all these smaller crows that are around, Insaku quickly pull out his bow, grab one of his flesh cutter arrows out of his quiver, draw it back, carefully aim, let loose, arrow, and I gotta say, Kensaku was kind of behind this thing. It catches on the bottom of one of its wings, goes straight up, and basically completely severs the wing from the crow's body.
All right. So the wing is almost seems to be blown off. There's this huge swirl of feathers. The crow immediately starts spiraling out of the sky. You can see as the wing is falling, feathers are just pouring off of it until the wing seems to just disappear, as if it was made of nothing but feathers. And that giant crow smashes into a rock about halfway down the canyon face. And it also just explodes into black feathers everywhere. But there's no evidence of blood or bone or anything, just feathers. Now Shiro is still clinging to the mountain face. So Kai, are you trying to scramble over to reach him? Is that correct?
Yeah, without risking myself, because I'm wearing plate armor, so I'm not gonna go crazy. So.
Okay. Make a agility test to try to reach him quickly.
That's really what I don't want to do.
Well, you said you're being careful, so
Okay, so
if you fail, you'll be slow instead of falling.
all right, okay, that's yeah, because he's just a peasant, right? You know.
Yes.
My agility is 2, and then I have -5 to all agility and reflex tests. So I roll 2 dice and then subtract 5.
Yeah, actually, give me a athletics test then, because I think you do have a. I think that's based on your strength, and you do get a little bonus, but you still get like the -5. Yeah, so I think your
Uh,
strength is
So I have a 1 in
3.
athletics, and my strength is 3. So that's 4.
Yeah, so 4, keep 3.
Oh, you know what? I'll just 4d10.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
And then you're -5 on the total though because of that armor. I think.
okay. So 10, 24. So that's a 19.
All right.
You can see that, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So that's actually that's a tremendous display of climbing ability. So you're able to get aside. Kensaku is he's hanging onto the ledge, just clinging there with his toes, standing with his bow. But you're able to get over and around him safely, and then continue on. And Shiro is still hanging with one hand. He's trying to get a grip somewhere. His other finger is slipping. And you manage to reach down, grab his hand, and pull it back up to the hold. With your tremendous strength, you can see Shiro's. Thank you. It was a demon. Did you see it? And he looks down, and you can still see feathers just filling the air.
I didn't see anything. Technically, I didn't.
So what's your reaction to this, guys?
I don't like crows. So all the feathers are gone, right? It's just empty, or?
There are still some feathers swirling around, but it does seem like every time you look back, there are fewer feathers.
How high up are we?
From the ground, you're about 125 feet, give or take 25 feet.
Oh, there's no way we're getting down there fast. Okay.
No.
Well, time to head back.
Shiro, his eyes are just wide. You can see he's shaking. He's like, there's only one of the kami. Surely there must be other angry spirits. Something has been done to offend them.
What did you do to offend them?
I've done nothing.
They went after you.
I've done nothing.
Where do you put your offerings?
I have a shrine outside of my hut. I leave sake for them.
Is that where the villagers in this world do? They just leave offerings in front of their houses, or?
In most other regions, the shrine will be inside their house. This valley, you did see a lot of outdoor shrines, so it seems to be the usual custom in this valley. Yes. To your knowledge, which was considerable, there is no real large shrine or temple or monastery within the vicinity of this region. That's why they all have personal shrines.
All right, well, I don't know. I start heading back to the village.
Shiro seems very, very happy to lead the way as quickly as possible. What is the thought of Kensaku in this, however?
He definitely, he definitely wishes he could investigate more, but he won't risk the life of a fellow man man again. So he'll come back tomorrow with just his companion Kai to investigate more.
All right. So you return to the keep. That's correct.
Yep.
Yes.
Right. So as you're climbing, making your way back down towards the less steep portion towards the keep, you do see still an abundance of those crows, and they seem to be watching you as you're departing, but they make no movement towards you, however. And it appears there's just as many as there had been previously. But now you're certainly sensing more malice in their gaze, if anything. But nothing does molest you as you're heading back towards the keep. So do you do anything once you've reached there? I think it would probably be approaching nightfall at this point, really.
Yeah. I think I probably go through some drills and then head to bed.
Maybe practice some Kyujutsu with your bow.
Yep.
I want to talk to, what's his name? Yamato or Yamashiro.
Okay. He'll, of course, accept an audience with you. He's almost obligated to invite you guys to dinner if you do want to dine with him. But
Absolutely.
All right. So yes, at the dinner, he's seated at the head. Is a long, low table. His courtiers, retainers, seated on the floor, cross-legged, as is the local fashion. He's clearly put out like the best food he has available in honor of his guests, but it's not great food. There's a lot of goat in there, and not a lot of seafood. What fish there is all salted, and his chef has clearly tried his best to get rid of the salt, but it's salty. And of course, he does have a pretty good supply of rice and vegetables, tofu, but there's a lot of goat and not a lot of seafood, which for a samurai that's definitely takes the whole meal down a notch in terms of being a classy dinner. So how do you broach this at dinner, or do you wait till after?
I ask him when the crows appeared in his valley.
He looks at you. Actually, make an etiquette test or courtier test. Both of you to read him.
I don't have that skill. So what is it again?
I believe it should be awareness, which is under your air ring.
Oh, this will be fun.
I think you have 2 dice, so 2 keep 2. And 2 is average. It's not like you're really deficient. It's just not you're just not skilled in any way beyond an average person.
You see that?
Yeah, 7.
Yep.
And what about Kensaku? Still with us, pal?
Was 19.
All right.
Yes.
So, excellent courtier, skilled in the ways of political maneuverings. So, so you can tell Kensaku that Yamashiro is like very taken aback when crows are mentioned. However, you don't notice that momentary betrayal, Kai. But so he'll turn to you and say, "Why, there have always been a few crows around this valley. Of what crows do you speak?"
I will speak up. Well, there was that one giant crow that I slayed earlier on the cliff.
And now his face is like he's startled, and it's very clear to everyone without making a test. His true feeling on that. You slew one of the Tengu, one of the air kami.
Yes, it threatened Shiro-san.
Surely then you're correct. Someone has done something to anger the spirits.
I wonder who that would be.
Make an additional courtier test to read him. Or flat awareness, yes.
Oh, whoops. Let me redo that because that. Oh, that was an 11. Sorry.
It's okay.
I didn't clear.
11, and what about Kinsaku? Awareness really should be like titled empathy, because it's easy to get confused between awareness and perception.
Perception, yeah.
But awareness is like your empathy, your personal charisma, and such.
Okay, I got 24, Mike.
All right.
Courtier.
So you're both able to tell that he's not as surprised as he's letting on. And Kinsaku, you see again that hint of guilt in his expression, just this betrayal in his eyes, as if he's somehow responsible.
Okay, I slam my fist on the table and say, "Tell us what's going on."
This is a breach of protocol. How dare you do this at my table? And he's looking around.
I look at him and I say, I basically say, "You've screwed everything up here. You've shirked your responsibilities. You have dishonored yourself and your family and the people who you protect. Do the right thing and tell us what's going on."
I will not suffer this insult at my own
You
table.
have no right to your station.
You, sir, are speaking beyond yours. I have no choice but to answer this charge with a duel. And he also like slams his fist on the table, and he pushes himself to his feet, and he gestures towards one of the other people at the table, who's a young man. He looks like he's in his mid 20s, and excuse me, and he says, "Fujoka, will you stand for Clan Baiko?" And you can see the young man looks like like he looks very like
I look at him and say, "Don't stand for this man. He's a coward and a weakling. He shirked his responsibility. He doesn't deserve what's his title?
Daimyo.
He doesn't deserve the title of daimyo. He's dishonored it."
And you can see Fujoka, his name in the chat here.
Just wait until I deliver my report to the government.
You see Fujoka looks very terrified, but he does stand up, and he bows to Yamashiro. He says, I will stand for the family, uncle." And he says that as if he's like, "Yes, I'll take an ass whooping." It's like he knows he's fucked. And Yamashiro steps back and he says, he gestures towards you most rudely, Kai, and says, "Go then and prepare yourself. The duel will commence in 1 hour."
Is this typically like to the death, or is this just to the ass kicking?
Given the amount of insult that you've brooked, it'll certainly be to the death. And whatever fate befalls the champion must befall the defendant. So if you kill this kid, which
Yep.
you should, you have to, then Yamashiro will have to commit seppuku.
Well, that's what I'm trying to get him to do.
Yeah.
Because he's an asshat.
Yes.
All right. Well, I get in my armor and get prepared
All right.
to kill this kid.
What's the reaction of Kensaku?
Kensaku is steadily little patrol towards his companion. Definitely thinks could have solved this democratically, diplomatically, still.
Do you say anything to Kai?
Yes. Kai-san, please. There was no need for violence. There was already enough death here. Let me speak to the daimyo.
Better make it quick, because it's going to happen. And it's out of my hands.
Basically, neither of you can step down at this point without losing face. So it's, you'd have to dishonor yourself not to fight at this point. And I'm gonna know
fight.
You are.
Yeah.
But he's kind of obligated to fight you, even though he knows he's gonna lose, though.
Right.
Has the guy left the daimyo?
You guys would probably have been ushered out of the.
I shout he's a coward not to face me himself.
You can see he's like red and shaking.
You sent a boy to do a man's work.
It is not my honor that is at stake, but our entire family.
I tell him he's pissing his kimono. He's too scared to face me.
Remove yourself from my presence.
That's it. I'm doubling down. That's just the way it is.
He just like turns his back on you, just tremendously disrespectful. And the steward is like trying to like usher you out, but he doesn't want to manhandle you because he'll get killed. So he's like just trying to politely get you to leave as quickly as possible, without you killing him as well. Can I get Kensaku to make a perception test? Because I believe, Kai, you'll be very occupied putting your armor on and getting prepared.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Just trying to role play.
No, that's excellent.
Ooh, that was only a 6.
All right. So it is indeed 1 hour later that you are met out in front of the keep. There is a cleared area. It's not quite level. The whole valley is a little slanted, so it's not quite a level area. And it is a little bit craggy. The terrain is a little bit rough, but you can see, standing beneath the keep, there's a Yamashiro and his court, his retainers. Fujoka is wearing his armor, which appears to be. Let me just get Fujoka here. Which is heavy armor, so his armor is in theory as durable as your own. He has a Bisento, which is kind of like a wakizashi on a stick. It's like a naginata, a spear, a partisan, that kind of polearm weapon. But again, he's about 25. He doesn't even have a mustache or anything. He's looking very young and very scared. So the two of you are kind of like ushered out away from the court to the other side of this cleared area, so that you're facing this whole group with their keep behind them. And Fujioka steps forward, and he formally kind of raises up his Bisento, and says, I demand on behalf of House Baiko that you retract the slander done against our house. And if not, I will do my utmost to kill you for the lies you have spoken against us. You can see he's like so scared. What's your rejoinder to that?
I use my intimidate on him to say, boy, this is your last chance. Put down the weapon. This isn't your fight. It's with your cowardly uncle. And I explain the whole story of how he basically allowed the messengers. I go into the whole thing, right, and I explain what's going on here.
All right. What
He's
exactly...
a dishonorable man.
Okay.
And basically, I basically tell him that if he doesn't back down now, he's dead.
He seems well aware of that, but he's completely unwilling to back down.
Yes, I'd like to talk to my companion before he goes.
Because if I don't back down, if I back down, I lose face, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you cannot back down.
Yeah, I can't back down. I'm committed.
Yeah,
I've doubled down.
Yeah. That already. Hey, Kai-san, I know you cannot back down from the fight, but please, if you can, get him to submit without killing him.
No.
I tried. I'll do what I can. I don't want to kill this boy.
So make a reflexes test to determine our initiative.
Did you see that?
What is it?
It was 12.
12? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so you have the initiative advantage. So he's dropped into his fighting stance. He has his Bisento out in front of him. What do you do to join the battle?
Well, I have my my war club out, my Tetsubo.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to try and... does he look like he's right or left-handed?
He looks like he's right-handed.
Okay, I'm going to try and... can you target body parts in this game?
Sure, you can describe your attack however you want as far as I'm concerned.
I want to try and smash him in his right arm as hard as possible with my war club.
Okay.
That's what I'm going to do. And if I read this, it's 6K3? How does that work?
Yeah, so roll 6 dice, keep 3 of them. If that's because you're rolling your heavy weapon skill to hit him. So you got 4 skill, and it's based on agility. So yeah, it's 6K. I think it's 6K2 to hit.
Okay, so I got 6K3. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
And the damage will be 6K3 if you hit.
10. The higher's better, right?
Yes, sir.
So I got a 10, a 9, and a 6 are my best if I'm keeping only 3. So that's a 25.
25 hits. So yeah, roll that damage.
How do I? What is my damage?
I think that one is listed, so it is the 6K3. Yeah, 6K3 with your strength. So roll 6 dice, keep the top 3.
Okay. Yeah, I hit him 24.
All right. So let me just double check. So The armor drops off 5, so that's 19. Good lord. So he's so that puts him all the way into an injured state. So he's gonna be at he's pretty much fucked actually. He's gonna be at like -15 to all of his future rolls.
So does he drop the polearm, or is he?
You can describe how you injure him however you want.
I give him multiple fractures in his right arm.
All right, so you just step forward and whack it, and he like tries to move to parry it, and his arm is just smashed, and he lets out this cry of pain, and looks up at you. He will attempt his rejoinder, but we'll I don't know how well he's going to do with that. Not well. So I think he got 12 wouldn't even hit you, but he's -15, so he's like -3 was his total. So he weakly tries to cut you with the Bacento using his other hand, but it's a completely clumsy attempt. Very easy to either dodge or parry, and then we're back to your turn.
I guess I'm gonna go after his other arm.
All right, roll it.
Or I could hit him. I could hit him in the leg. I would just drop him down. So, all right.
If you knock him out without killing him, it will be he'll be dishonored. So, I mean, technically, according to Bushido, it's more merciful to kill him.
Whatever. Okay, I'll just. Yeah. I didn't want to have to do this. So, but you know what? Whoops, hang on. Let me clear this. Ah, 27.
All right, so that's another flat hit.
Yep.
So roll. I don't think you can not kill him, but roll damage anyway. If you do 5 or more points of damage, he's
Yeah,
dead.
I did 16.
All right, yeah. So describe how you can knock him out if you want, but according to Bushido, it's more merciful to kill him. So I'll let you describe whatever you do to him, but he's done.
I give him a swift kill to the noggin.
Good lord.
He doesn't have a face left at this point.
No, so
Yeah, I just
that was a quick one.
Overripe melon, just boom. Yeah.
It was like, oh my arm, and he swipes at you. You just step back and then step back in and crack him in the head, and he just goes down. And
I point the war club at the Daimo, and I go, you coward! You sent a boy to do a man's work.
And you can see there's no surprise at the outcome, but you can see he's like accepted the finality of it, and he kneels down in the dirt right there where he's standing, and he looks at you across this plain. You know, his dead nephew's laying on the ground between you. And Yamashiro looks up at you and says, Kai, your charges have been proven true. I have dishonored myself and my clan. Would you assist me in ending my life with honor?
I tell him that he's going to provide answers first, and then I will assist him.
All right, so he just looks at you. You can see the sadness in his eyes, and then he just reaches down. He pulls out his wakizashi.
Really? I'm going to fucking hit that right out of his hand.
All right.
Do I have a chance?
Sure. I will get you to make a... Either your choice of agility or reflexes to get there in time, because he's a distance away from you.
Oh, he's a distance away. Okay.
Yeah, you can make it, but I'll just get you to make a test.
Yeah, -5 to that, but I'll try.
Or if you have another relevant skill, but those are the two that spring to my mind.
Can I throw my club at him? That's a little hard, right? Yeah, it's a little tough.
Well, I'd allow that. I think there is a throwing skill, but I guess I'd allow you to make a heavy weapons test to do it. I'd allow that.
All right, so what do I roll for that?
Just make a regular attack roll.
Okay.
So what did we say? You were like 6 keep 5 or something like that?
Yeah, okay.
You were...
That's crazy. Okay. So I got 25.
I think you're 6 keep 2, aren't you?
Oh, 6 keep 2. I thought it was K3 with my club.
Well, you should be keeping whatever your agility is. I think your agility is
right.
2.
Yep. Okay. So then it's 16. Or sorry, 19. 19.
All right. So yeah, your Bicento or your Tetsubo just flies out of your hand. You know, it's basically like a baseball bat with iron studs, big iron studs all over it. And as he's drawn up his wakizashi, clearly about to plunge it into his own gut, and the Tetsubo just smashes into his arm, and he drops the wakizashi, and looks down at it, and he just like falls onto he's already kneeling, but now he just falls on all fours, completely humiliated. You can see the rest of his court is just like, you know, they're just suffering as their lord is being humbled in a way that no samurai should ever be humbled in their opinion. But such is the want of the Crab Clan. This is why nobody likes the Crab Clan, in fact.
So I look like the biggest badass right now.
Yeah. Well, you look like a rude barbarian, but that's what the Crab Clan does. That's what they do.
All right, I walk over to right in front of him, and I draw my katana out, and I tell him to give me answers now.
Let me just ask, what's Kensaku's response to all of this, if any?
I will also speak to the daimyo. Please, in your last moments in this life, tell us everything you know. Reclaim your honor before passing on to the next life.
You can see Yamashiro. He like looks as you put your katana, I'd imagine, like under his chin and get him to sit up.
Yep.
He looks up at you and he has like tears in his eyes. His face is red. He's just completely demoralized, and he almost starts babbling. You know, he's completely lost composure. A monk came to me. He asked permission to build a monastery in the pass. He offered me money. I allowed this, but the monks have disturbed the Tengu, and they have brought down the wrath of the kami upon us. I cannot renege on my bargain, but in my death, perhaps it can be nullified.
Where are these monks, Yoshio-sama?
They are building their monastery in the pass, but their chanting has angered the Tengu.
Arigato.
Who are these monks?
They are Shinton monks. They wish only seclusion. I did not know that the Tengu were there. I did not know that they would take offense. Ignorance is my crime. If I must die for it, I will gladly do so.
All right, I hand him his wakizashi, and from what I know about this, they have to start committing seppuku, and then at the last minute, I cut the person's head off.
Yeah.
So that's what is going to happen.
Yeah, because it's dishonorable for him to scream, but when you stab yourself in the gut, your first instinct is to scream.
Yeah.
So you're supposed to cut his head off before he dishonors himself.
That's what I'm going to do.
All right, so he'll accept the wakizashi and he looks at it. He's just got this tremendous gratitude in his eyes, and he's crying and red in the face. But he does accept it from you, and he looks up with gratitude, and he turns the wakizashi and takes a deep breath, and he pulls it into his gut and begins sawing through his own organs. And you could hear like an intake of breath from his courtiers as they're watching this. You said you then decapitate him?
Yep.
All right. His head falls to the ground in the dust. It rolls slightly downhill. Fortunately, not too far. And you can see the other courtiers all kind of bow in respect. Not necessarily to you, but just towards the act that's being committed in front of their faces. And you can see a young man from the crowd, probably just over 30, steps forward, and he'll bow to you. You were introduced to him before. He's Minamoto Baiku. He's Yamashiro's son and heir. He is now the daimyo. So he will bow to you and say, whatever my father's crimes, let me do my best to make amends for them.
I bow to him.
House Baiku is at your disposal. What would you have us do?
I just killed the guys. So I look at my colleague, and
first, you should start seeing to the burial of your father and cousin. We will discuss the matter in the morning.
And he bows to you again very respectfully. My house is yours. And the courtiers, some of the undesirable castes, those who are allowed to touch dead bodies, come forward and they begin gathering respectfully taking up the corpses on palanquins and moving them into the keep to be prepared for cremation. And the courtiers will kind of, start heading back into the castle, no doubt, preparing themselves for the grieving process for the funeral, which is to come. But Minamoto, the new daimyo, has certainly recognized you are right. You've got the confession now, in fact, from his departed father, Yamashiro. So what is your next step, if any? You know these monks are stirring up the Tengu. Yamashiro said he made a deal with them, but hopefully, now that he's dead, the deal is nullified. That was his hope. But what is your hope? What do you guys do?
My hope would be to rest, and then go see these monks the next day.
How far away are the monks?
Well, he didn't really say before he died, but so I'm not sure if you could presume exactly how far it would be, actually. So you don't really know.
Well, traveling at night is not a good idea. So yeah,
No.
we'll sleep.
Indeed, the sun is kind of setting on this scene. So going inside, you have your sleep. Do you have any conversation with the other residents of the castle before heading out to find this monastery?
I think it would just horrify everybody if I did. So I'm just gonna eat, drink, and go to bed.
Well,
Consider what I just did.
It's formally they can have no argument with you at this point. You've basically done everything right according to Bushido, even if you're a bit rude, but there's nothing they can call you out on. So they're required to be polite to you.
I asked my colleague here if he can ask the locals to see if they know where this monastery is or get some information on it.
Yes, I can do that.
He's the polite one.
Yes.
Well, Minamoto will probably admit to you that this is the first that I've heard of it. My father did not keep me in the loop with his business dealings. Indeed, I will have much that I need to learn now that he is gone.
Technically, all he has to do is not do what his dad did, but and he'll be just fine.
Yeah, I'll go see. I'll talk to both the people of the castle, the steward might have heard.
Right. No one seems to know anything about this monastery. As Yamashiro said, it's presumably in the process of being built, and monks, they usually try to build their monasteries in very remote, inaccessible locations, and they try to be very, very independent as far as constructing things themselves. So you're really not able to find any good leads.
Okay. Then I'll go ahead and head to bed.
All right. So heading back out in the morning, coming through the Dayu Pass once again, this time in search of that monastery. Presumably, you're once again wearing your armor. That's correct, just in case those Tengu attempt to give you problems.
Yep.
All right. So make. I will not require any tests, but it is a rather difficult climb. You're either hiking uphill, you're climbing these ladders carved into the rock, you're scuttling along ledges, 6 inches wide above the canyon floor, hundreds of feet below. In places, it's more easy going, but It's a pretty physical pursuit getting through this pass. You certainly understand why the Baiko clan have had so much trouble turning it into a trade route, because expanding this to allow ponies through it will take a huge amount of work. But as you're moving through, you do see again, these crows. They seem to be watching you silently, not crowing, not cawing, just watching you, glaring. However, they do not harass you at this point. And as you're moving through, eventually you see a red silk kerchief tied around a rock. Clearly some kind of marker. And looking around from that, you see another one high up on the cliff face. And you think you can just discern a path up to it. You begin following these red silk kerchiefs that are blowing in the breeze, and it's taking you, very much vertical once you find the first one. And once again, at a certain point, there's one in front of a cave mouth. Going inside, you're able to follow a trail up. It's a well-marked trail. Otherwise, you might indeed become lost in this cave network. But it leads you up onto another plateau. And as you're coming out of this plateau, instead of finding yourself, looking around for another pathway, you actually see it's a fairly large cleared area, and you see a group of men working on the far side. Indeed dressed as monks, and you see that they have some tents, some lean-tos. There's a small shrine set up. They have tools as well. As you come up out of the cave, one of them comes forward and approaches you. How do you greet this individual? He's about he looks to be in his 40s. Of course, he has a shaved head, as he is a monk. He's just wearing some loose robes. He's kind of wet with perspiration, as he's clearly been working very hard. You see, they're starting to carve out a kind of a doorway, a front face into the side of the mountain, as if they're carving their monastery into the rock itself.
How is he approaching us?
Peaceably. Somewhat casually. He appears unarmed, but most monks are very skilled martial artists. So.
Mm-hmm. Say, greetings, monk.
So he'll respectfully bow to you. He'll probably, again, drop on his knees, touch his forehead to the ground, and then stand back up if you allow him to.
Yeah.
And he introduces himself as Sakamoto Kazuhiro. Says, greetings, samurai. How may I be of assistance to you?
Who is the leader of your monastery?
I am.
So I ask what his business is here.
We are establishing a monastery, my lord, that we may find enlightenment.
Who gave you permission to build your monastery here?
Daimyo Yamashiro Baiko. I have the contract, if you wish to see it, my lord.
Yes, I would.
And he gestures for you to follow him back towards some of those tents, those little lean-tos he has set up. The other monks are just going about their work, continuing to carve into the rock face. It looks like horrible back-breaking labor, but they have a tremendous amount of energy as they're going about their work, and they certainly seem enthusiastic about it. But he does retrieve a scroll case from his lean-to. Of course, it contains a scroll. He shows it to you. It has the stamp of Yamashiro on it, and it does outline the contract to have the monastery set up. If you wish to examine it in any detail, then you can make. I'm trying to think what kind of test it would be. Lore, etiquette, something like that. If you care to examine it in any detail.
Yeah, I'm going to. I have lore.
Okay.
So
All
it's lore plus intelligence.
Yeah, it's the skill plus the attribute, but you only keep as many as your attribute was. So if your lore is 1, your intelligence is 2, that's 3. But you only keep the intelligence ones. You only keep 2, or whichever 2 are highest.
For some reason, the third one, which is an 8, is not appearing above my head.
Always fun.
I swear it's there. So it's 14.
All right. So it looks very official. It looks certainly like something that Yamashiro or his steward put together. It's pretty straightforward, which is almost unusual because a lot of more intelligent samurai would put kind of some loopholes in just in case, especially when dealing with monks, because monks they'll sign anything because they trust people. But it appears Yamashiro didn't even give himself like an out clause or anything. However, as Yamashiro said, with himself being dead and the circumstances surrounding his death, you could always try to make the argument that this contract was dishonorable and void somehow. But it would be a bit of a stretch to make the argument, but that's what Yamashiro suggested before he was killed.
So is that a persuasion or is that a?
It'd be some kind of legal test. I'd probably say an additional lore test to make a legal argument. I mean, the thing is, does a monk really care about a legal argument, no matter how well it's put together? He probably doesn't. But
I tell him that this document is null and void. The daimyo is dead.
And he looks at you very...
just to see his reaction.
Yeah, he's very confused. Lord Yamashiro is dead.
Yes, I killed him last night. Myself.
You killed him.
He committed seppuku. I took his head. For dishonorable deeds.
And he looks down at the contract. He looks back up at you, as if he's kind of putting 2 and 2 together. What deeds had he committed that were dishonorable?
Well, he's dishonored the offerings in the temples. He's also lied. Messengers have gone missing. Several villagers have gone missing. He has lied about it and not protected his people.
Our agreement with Yamashiro was made for the entire Baiko clan.
I'm afraid that agreement is no longer legal.
Friend Samurai, perhaps you can tell me why you are here. And he looks at your armor to remove us. We have done no one harm.
I will speak up.
Good.
And of course, Sakamoto speaking so directly on an issue is, for a samurai, would be so rude to actually just ask you why you're here. But he's a monk, so he's allowed to be rude and actually be direct. But certainly you might find that a little uncouth of him.
Right. Hey, uh, please, you might not have done anything intentionally, but the local kami seem to be disturbed by your coming here. They've been attacking the local populace. Just yesterday, I saved a man from one of them.
Yes, the Tengu, they have given us problems as well. But we have been singing our hymns into the sky. Soon we will drive them from this land.
Listen, monk. You are driving the Tengu into the village, and they are killing the people. What do you say to these crimes?
The crimes are those of the Tengu. We are here only to seek enlightenment.
With an illegal document.
Friend Samurai, we will not be moved. But if the Tengu are causing evil to befall the villagers, we will do everything we can to help you fight them. They are the source of the evil, not us. And he looks over at Kensaku's bow, and he says, "We have sacred arrows that may aid you in removing the Tengu from the mountainside. Perhaps we can all come together to banish these evil spirits without becoming enemies of one another."
Are the Tengu inherently evil?
Make a lore test. He seems to think so.
8.
So on an 8, you probably think they are, yes. What's Kensaku's reaction to this?
Before I give you next time, actually, if I can, would like to make a roll as well.
Sure.
Not little better with an 11, but not much.
All right. So you would know that the Tengu really hate organized religion in general and monks of Shinto in specific. They just really hate them. And for that reason, a lot of people do think the Tengu are evil. But as long as you're, not involved with preaching and with Shinto and with that kind of path, the Tengu are not typically any kind of problem. So they certainly have this predilection against monks and organized religion and Shinto. But so if you're just spiritual, if you just have shrines to the kami, they're no problem at all. But as soon as you start having large temples and preaching and having monasteries, they really hate monasteries, in fact, and monks. Then you start having serious problems with the Tengu, as you've seen.
How many monks are there?
It looks like there's about 30 of them.
Okay, all right.
It's based on like the lean-tos and such. You can only see about 20, but there are some caves and they've tunneled into the rock face. So.
I say I need to speak with my colleague and pull him aside. So what do you want to do? Do you want to try and convince this guy to move his monastery?
That that would be ideal for me, but if we must, we will slay the Tengu.
We could say we're going to bring back the army. I guess we are the army, right?
There is an imperial army, and you certainly could try to muster them. The problem is getting them up through this horrible mountain pass. You'd basically be, inviting yourself to Thermopylae type situation.
Mm-hmm.
The 30 monks could hold off a huge army because you can only come up at them like one at a time.
Boy, these lean-tos sure do look flammable. Anyway,
Oh, that's true.
This is a tough one. This is a tough choice. Maybe we should just try and convince him to move. You're the talker, right? So,
yep.
See if we can find another location.
Yeah. So I'll go up to the head monk.
Mm-hmm.
Sakimoto-san. I'm afraid, despite your good intentions, you being here is threatening the local populace. I humbly ask if you will consider moving your monastery to another location. I'm sure I could convince my daimyo to allow you to build within Crab Clan lands.
All right, make a sincerity test. Unless you're lying, in which case make a deception test. I believe you have 1 in sincerity, and your awareness is 3, so it's 4, keep 3.
Too good. That's 13. Sincerity.
All right. So Sakamoto will. He's developing kind of like a mournful expression on his face, and he says, "I appreciate what you are trying to do, but our asking Yamashiro for permission is a formality. To flee from evil is to invite that evil to grow and spread. We have come here to banish evil from these lands, not to strengthen it."
And a sigh. Very well. Then, will you point us to the direction of this Tengu live?
Any prayer within the past will call them down upon you. I will offer you again our sacred jade arrows. If they will help you to banish this evil.
Arigato. I'll go ahead and take them.
He does. He goes into the lean-to, and he has a bundle of probably just 10 of these jade-tipped arrows. You know, of course, as kami witch hunters, that jade is a sacred substance. Does great damage to evil spirits. It can protect someone from the taint of Jigoku if you're carrying jade on your person. So it's a most sacred material. And these should be These should basically be treated for game purposes just like your flesh cutter arrows, but they'll bypass all damage reduction for the spirits. Not that you needed it last time.
I needed that.
So what's Kai's reaction to this conversation?
I kind of want to kill the birds, and I kind of want to kill all the monks. But anyway, just it's a tough call either way. It's a moral dilemma.
Yeah. Okay.
But you know what? Yeah, I can't fight 30 monks. Unless I burn down their lead-tos at night.
Okay.
Even then, I don't know, man. It would, they're just little tents, man.
Yeah, yeah. All right. I asked for some monk robes.
All right. Sakamoto will be very happy to provide whatever he can. They do have robes and rope. If you guys want some rope, it's there.
Some disciple. I want to bring 2 disciples with us to chant. Well, I mean some disciples, right?
Sakamoto nods and says, "I will be happy to accompany. I can bring as well Takashi with us."
What time of day is it right now?
I'd imagine you left pretty early, so it's before noon. It's probably like 10, 11 a.m. I would guess.
So we'd have to get back to the valley, and it would be nighttime.
I would say it's probably like a 3-hour trip from the castle up to the monastery.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm thinking you guys left around like 7 a.m. ish.
Yep.
So that's about 10 now.
Okay. It's too bad. I asked him actually one last thing. Have they had any attacks in their camp?
No. With all of us chanting together, the Tengu dare not approach. But for one who is alone, they will attack.
All right. So if we're going to do this, we want to be in the valley, right? Not clinging to the crags again.
Well, there certainly are some areas where you have at least a little bit of space and ledge, but if you could lure them down into a larger area, would certainly be better.
That's what I want to do. So that's my recommendation.
All right.
Yeah.
What are the thoughts of Kensaku?
Yeah. That's a good idea. I'll probably be up a little higher. It's like in the clearing. I'm be up the cliff a bit, so I can do a little distance shooting.
All right. So as you guys are moving down back into the valley to have a better locale to attack from, what's your marching order?
We're going to put the monk in front.
Okay.
He has to lead the way.
Monks in front, and then Kai, and then Kensaku. Does that sound correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So again, you guys go through that cave out onto the cliff face. Kind of again that vertical climb down. But as you're making that climb down, you notice again the crows gathering around, glaring at you, and as you're climbing, you can see Sakamoto and Takeshi getting very, they look very nervous as the crows are gathering around. And Sakamoto kind of looks up and says, Perhaps we should go back. They appear to be massing."
I tell him to get moving. He's responsible for this problem.
So as you're saying that, you can see the crows start to fly, and now the canyon is filling with these black wings swirling around. You can feel the air rushing against your bodies. So can I get you guys to make reflex tests for your initiative?
One of my advantages says act first during combat, so.
Oh yes. All right. So you'll go at the top.
14.
All right, you'll go second, so that you can see the Tengu kind of swarming around. They haven't formed into any of those giant crows as of yet, but it looks like they're getting ready to do so. Now you're on this vertical face, and the ledge beneath you is like probably 20 feet beneath you. So what do you do in this situation, Kensaku?
I'll pull out my bow and one of the cheat arrows received, and I will attack one of the crows.
Where you are, you need you need at least one hand to cling to the rock face, though.
Okay. Are they close enough for me to swing at them with katana?
Maybe some of the individual crows are, yes, but they haven't coalesced into the larger forms as of yet. It looks like that's what they're doing.
Yeah, and try and cut one of them out of game. My theory here is maybe killing one or two of the smaller crows before they have a chance to coalesce will prevent them from coalescing.
All right, make a Kenjutsu test, which is, I believe you have 2. Your agility is 3, so it's 5. Keep 3.
That'd be 24.
All right. So that's actually a raise. So your regular damage is 5. Keep 2. So you can bump that up by 1 die, or you can make a maneuver against them, whichever you prefer.
What sort of maneuvers could I do?
I would say what you did last time is probably the best thing. Is as it's coalescing, try to cut that wing, force a fly test to prevent it from crashing and burning. That's what I would recommend. But if you can think of something else, go for it.
Yeah, I think I'll do that.
Okay. So I'll get you to roll the damage, and then I'll make a fly test for the Tengu here.
Okay, damage is 11.
All right. Just mark that down. So yes, clinging to the rock face, you reach down, The katana comes out, looking back over your shoulder. You see the crows coalescing, this ball of feathers, and it seems to be this time taking a more humanoid form, if anything, than what it was doing previously. And just as it's coalescing into this winged, crow-faced humanoid, and you can see that emerging from the feathers are part of like a garment, like it's wearing clothing, and indeed a spearhead emerges from this ball of feathers, and he starts to pull it with his arms outside of his chest, arming himself with this spiritual weapon. But before he can get that fully into his hand, you cut down with the katana behind you out into empty air. The tip of the wing is gashed, and it goes spiraling down out of the sky, and actually impacts against the side of the canyon. Actually, let me see if he can. He does get a grip, so he's clinging onto the side of the canyon, but his wing certainly appears to be damaged to you. And then we'll come back to Kai. So again, you're also clinging to the side of the rock face. It's about 20 feet down to the ledge, and pretty much 20 feet up to the ledge with the cave mouth above you. Now there are those two monks beneath you as well, Takashi and Sakamoto.
So we're moving down to where the Tengu are, or we're moving up?
You were moving down, and then they're starting to attack you basically halfway between the monastery and the first ledge outside the monastery.
Okay, how am I able to get down to the ledge?
Yeah, you can make a athletics test to see how quickly you're able to get down.
Athletics. Oh, and it's strength too. Okay. Strength. Okay.
So I'd say you need a 15 to get all the way down. A 10 will get you halfway. That's my thought.
I roll 5 dice. My goodness. So how many dice do I keep?
Whatever
Oh,
your
it's
strength
4.
is, I think.
Oh yeah, I crushed it. So.
All right.
Yeah.
So you're quickly able to then scramble down past Takashi and Sakamoto, get your feet planted on that ledge.
Can I wrap a robe around my my neck too?
Sure.
Yep. So I look like a priest, sort of.
Absolutely.
Oh, maybe not.
And we'll come to Takashi and Sakamoto. So they're going to try to climb down after you. They make it about halfway, but they're just not as speedy as you are. They're not quite up to your snuff. And we're going to say that there are 5 Tengu, these humanoid Tengu that have materialized, and they're going to descend upon the monks. There's 4 of them that are still airborne. One is, as I said, clinging to the side after that hit. So let me just grab their attack here. All right, so they're springing down on the monks, and they do have these long spears, and they're kind of doing flyby and stabbing out. Takashi and Sakamoto are both stabbed. Takashi is stabbed 3 times, and you can see him, and blood is pouring out onto his robe, and finally he just can't take it, and the last one gets his spear in his back, just starts to drag him, and cuts, and he loses his grip, and he tumbles down the cliffside. If you really want to, you could try to catch him, but he's been stabbed several times, and he might be dead anyways.
No, I don't care. These guys drew these things out, so
Okay.
not really. I have no sympathy.
Sakamoto manages to maintain his grip, however, and the Tengu who was injured is starting to crawl his way up. He's just getting to the bottom of the ledge that you're standing on, Kai.
Mhm.
But it is Kensaku's turn. So there's 4 airborne Tengu around you, and they're eviscerating the poor monks. Kakashi's gone. Sakamoto's barely hanging on. What do you
Cannon
do?
fodder.
Would it be possible to kind of push off the ledge and try and jump on one of these things back?
It's possible. It's unbelievably dangerous and reckless, but it's possible.
That's crazy.
I don't think you have a jujitsu skill, so give me a agility if that's what you want to try to do.
Okay. That'll be 15.
That's a successful grapple. Let me see if the Tengu can maintain any kind of altitude with you on its back. It can. So yes, describe how you basically jump onto one of the Tengu and it's flying around with you, clinging to it somehow.
As these things are flying by, attacking the monks, kind of push off, spin around, and grab on Jonas' back, kind of wrapping my arms around its neck.
So are you belly to back or belly to belly?
Belly to back.
Okay, so you're riding him, and then we'll come back to Kai. So this Tengu's just climbing up near your feet, and you got the big Tetsubo. What do you do?
Well, I just say 4, and yep.
Right. Roll it.
It's like croquet.
Oh, way more fun.
20.
Okay, that's a raise. So you can get an extra dice of damage or perform a maneuver. At this point, I'd probably just recommend the damage on him, but whatever you want. So go ahead.
What constitutes a maneuver?
Anything like a disarm, like a trip, anything like that you can think of.
And it has to be on the same opponent, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll just do the damage.
Okay.
So an extra die of damage.
Yes, sir. So you were 6K3, so now you're 7K4.
Okay, so 16, 24, 32.
That's a kill. So describe how you destroy this Tengu.
He just, explodes into a fine red mist. Or his head goes flying. His body tumbles to the ground. He's gone.
All right. And then I believe we'll come back to our good monk. So he's gonna climb down, and he's next to you now, and he's looking around in panic, he doesn't really know what to do.
He knows kung fu. Come on.
Yeah, but he's clearly not used to these flying opponents with the spears. And indeed, those Tengu are now going to, now that they don't have somebody climbing, they're actually going to come out a ways, and they're starting to beat their wings forward towards the 3 of you still on the mountain face, and wind is just blasting and blasting forward, a supernatural wind onto you. can you all make strength tests to try to cling to the mountain face? And you can take a +5, Kai, because you have a ledge.
Okay.
Right. Our monk rolled very well.
17. How many do I keep?
Whatever your... I think it's just flat strength, so keep them all, I think.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So 19, 21, 26.
All right. Yeah, so you're hanging on, no problem. You're unaffected largely by the wind buffet. What about Kensaku?
I got a 3.
3. All right. Make it.
But he's on the back of one, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so I'm sorry, I got confused there, Kensaku. So actually, he's so 3 of them then are buffeting. That third one, he's trying to shake you off, which I think should be pretty much the same test, but with a +5, I would say, because you grappled. But if your total is a 3, I don't think the +5 is super helpful.
No, that would bring it to an 8.
Yeah. So can you make an agility test or an athletics test to try to grab something as he's bucking you off of him?
Go with agility. Would be better. Uh, 16.
Thank God. So as he's like shaking you, bucking you, he throws you off of him. But describe how you're able to grab onto something to keep yourself from falling down 150 feet to the canyon floor. So is it a ledge, a rock, a crag, a tree growing out of the side of the mountain? What do you grab onto?
Actually, as my katana is pulled out, as I'm falling, I'll stick it into the side of the cliff. That'll slow me down until I eventually come to a stop.
All right, so are you hanging by your katana?
Yeah, basically.
Oh my gosh, that's scary. And let me do a 50-50 if you're. So you're on the opposite side of the canyon from Kai and Sakamoto. But that is the Tengu, and we are back to you, I believe, Kensaku.
Okay, then. Well, then I'll go ahead and climb up to the nearest ledge. And
All right, make an athletics test. I think that's 3, keep 2, I believe.
Yep. Total is 9. Oh, no, 15, sorry.
All right, out of 15, yes, you're able to get up to a ledge. So you've finally got some kind of stable footing underneath you, but it takes up your whole turn to get there.
Okay.
And we'll say, I'll give you a 50-50 on how big your ledge is. It's a very small ledge. So we'll come back to Kai. So you got 3 of them buffeting you with wind. Sakamoto is next to you. You're hanging on tenaciously. What do you do?
How high up are they?
They're about only about 15 feet away from you, and from the ground, you guys are like 150 feet off the floor of the canyon.
So they're at a melee range.
Just barely out, yeah.
I grab a rock off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Or actually, do I know what these monks chant?
Yeah, I'm sure you must know some kind of chant or prayer. Absolutely.
I grab a rock off the ground, and I start chanting, and I throw the rock at one of them.
All right. Why don't you make a? I'm gonna go with like your highest ring, which should be your Earth ring. So basically, just make a willpower test. It's kind of an untrained spellcasting test for you.
I'm basically trying to taunt them to come down, is what I'm trying to do.
Okay. I'll make a willpower test.
Okay. Do I put lore in there or no?
Nope. Just will.
Okay. Ew. 6.
All right. So it doesn't appear to be having any effect on them.
Okay. I throw the rock.
All right. So they appear to be getting frustrated that they haven't blown you two off the side. So
What do I do to throw the rock at them?
well, in the face of like the wind buffet.
Oh, yeah. Okay, makes sense.
It's a rock, and they have effectively damage reduction. So
Yep. No
it's
problem.
more the spiritual power than anything. But you didn't quite hit enough spiritual power.
Okay.
They're going to try to attack you. So you should have at the top, it should say, of your armor TN, armor target number. I think with your armor on, you're 25. Is that correct?
It's reflex times 5. So that's 10 plus 5. That's 15 plus armor, which I don't know where that is. Oh, it's 25.
It's okay.
25.
So they're trying to hit you, but they can't their blows are glancing off of your armor, and Sakamoto actually manages to dodge the one that attacks him miraculously. And the one that's trying to get you, Kensaku. I'm sorry. One of my favorite wrestlers is Kensuke Sasaki, so I'm getting really confused. I want to call you Kensuke, so I'm sorry about that. But the one tries to attack you as well using his spear, Kensaku, and you're able to avoid that because he rolled quite terribly. And then it is your turn. So you're on the ledge. He's trying to skewer you with his spear flying around.
And I will try and attack him with my katana.
All right.
Uh, 29.
That's a hit with a raise, so you get either a maneuver or an extra die of damage, and roll that damage.
Okay, I'll go ahead and do extra die of damage.
Okay.
So that my...
I think your katana's 5k2, but it becomes 6k3 with the extra die.
Okay. That'll be 15 on the damage.
He's be right back.
Okay.
Did you shoot the jade arrow, or what did you do?
Use the katana. And,
Sorry about that. I'm back.
yeah.
What was your damage?
15.
15. Let me just grab his block. So describe how you wound him without dispatching him.
So, after I dodged out of the way of his spell, bring my katana down, and cut him across his torso, leaving sizable gash, but nothing that will keep him from fighting on.
All right. And then we'll come back to you, Kai. So now they're coming in with their spears. They're trying to stab you. They're bouncing off the armor. Maybe you're parrying with the Tetsubo. But they're basically in range for melee now, if that's what you want to do.
How many are on me?
Two, probably just one on you. Oh, no, two, yeah. I rolled for two. Two on you and one on Sakamoto. But they're all basically within striking range if you want to hit the one that's attacking him.
No, I don't care about him. I'm gonna attack one of the ones attacking me.
Yeah.
He got us into this mess, so he's on his own. So I swing my Tetsubo, and I keep 2.
Yes, sir. Because that's your
a 19 to hit.
Okay, that's a hit. It's not quite a raise, so just regular damage and no maneuvers. But your regular damage is pretty intense.
Oh, that's terrible. 14 damage.
Okay, so describe how you injure him without dispatching him.
I slam him in the rib cage, fracturing several ribs.
Oh, good lord. Okay. I've got to suck to fly around with bust your ribs.
Yep.
So he'll probably try to take his revenge against you. However, your armor defends you successfully. Sakamoto takes a hit. He's still alive, however, so he's taken another stab wound, this one in the chest instead of the back. And the one trying to harry you, Kensaku, is also ineffective. So we're back to your turn. You can describe your parry if you want.
Okay. Yeah. As he once again I said, Samurai spell, use my katana, whack it out of the way, and then go in, and stab him through, his heart would be if he was human.
Alright, I think you're 2 keep 3 for your Kenjutsu.
$21.
21 to hit. That's a hit with a raise. Roll damage. And you can either have that extra die of damage or a maneuver.
I'll do the let's do the extra damage. It's 25.
All right, describe how you dispatch this Tengu.
Like I said, after having knocked the spear out of the way, going with a stab right off his torso where his heart would be. This basically impale him completely like a katana
All right.
as they slide it out as he begins to fall.
All right, so he's impaled and he dies on your blade. The weight of his body carries him down. You just let him fall off the sword. Goes tumbling through the air, shedding feathers as he goes. There's hardly anything left by the time he hits the canyon floor. And then I believe we're through to Kai.
I take a swing at the one I wounded earlier.
All right, roll it. Yeah, he's in rough shape.
So I 18.
All right, that's a hit, but not a raise.
18 damage.
Describe how you dispatch that Tengu.
With another clear smash to his rib cage, his ribs fracture into his internal organs, and he just drowns in his own blood.
Oh, oh, that sucks. So we have the two remaining Tengu. So they're probably both going to come in at Sakamoto at this point. And you know their numbers are depleted. They're kind of panicking, and they're just trying to grab Sakamoto and fly away with him, no doubt to drop him down to the canyon below. Do you try to grab Sakamoto to help with this kind of tug of war, or do you just let him go, Kai?
I'll grab him.
Okay, so make a strength test.
Oh, it's just Mr. Okay. So 22.
All right, so you got the two Tengu on Sakamoto trying to drag him out into thin air. He's trying to resist. You've got the back of his robe trying to resist, and no one's able to get the advantage this turn. So we'll come over to Kensaku. So you're on the other side of the canyon, Kensaku.
Jade arrows.
Yep, that's what I was going to do. I pulled my bow, take aim at one of the Tengu with a shade arrow.
All right, roll Kyujutsu.
Total 15.
That's a hit. Roll damage.
Okay. I got what attribute here for the damage on the arrows?
The damage should be 4, keep 3. The arrows themselves are, I think, 2, keep 3, and then you add your strength, but you don't keep the strength dice. So you've got 2 strength dice, so that's how it goes from 2k3 up to 4k3. The maximum damage is essentially determined by the weapon.
Okay.
But you get to add your strength in potential damage.
Right. Okay. 22.
That's a kill. With those jade arrows, describe how you take out one of these Tengu.
So, drawing my bow bag, release, it'll hit one of the Tengu in the back, kind of like shoulder, kind of surprised look, like he'll kind of glow green a little, and then he'll suddenly explode, and in a flash of green light and feathers.
All right, excellent. And then we're back to you, Kai. So he's still within melee distance, the last remaining Tengu trying to drag Sakamoto to his doom.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit him.
Roll it.
18, 27.
That's
Oh,
a
sorry,
hit.
keep 2. Sorry, 18. Sorry, my
Okay.
bad.
That's okay. That's a hit. It's not quite a raise. It's just
Yep.
regular damage.
Uh, 27 for damage.
All right. Describe how you dispatch this Tengu.
I smash his beak right through the back of his head.
Oh, it's not the beak, right? So he's like trying to pull Sakamoto, and the club just comes in right in the mush. Oh, that's brutal. So the rest of his body just goes limp, tumbles down the canyon, and you just watch it go down. You guys are left in this empty canyon, sweating, having exerted yourself, probably sore and aching from some of these attempts at doing real damage, but certainly causing some bruises. With that, you've basically vanquished these evil spirits from the Valley of the Wind. You've destroyed them. The monks have pushed them back. Do you want to narrate the epilogue at this point? What becomes of your characters? What becomes of the Valley of the Wind and the monastery? What do you think?
Uh, 6 months later, due to the poverty in the region, they have a drought, they can't grow any food, and maybe they just all die. I don't know.
Brutality. So we can save their souls, but we can't save their bodies.
Well, I mean, they're pretty, I don't know, decrepit. I slap the head monk right across the face and before I leave, and I tell him, he caused this, and it's all his fault. And and then I wander off into the sunset to the next adventure.
All right, and what about Kensaku? What do you think his fate and destiny will be?
He will actually taking pity on poor people who have suffered through this tragedy. He'll stay a bit, try and help out as much as he can before heading back to Crab Clan lands.
All right, excellent. And so the monastery of the Valley of the Wind will continue to grow and flourish despite the drought, but it will no longer have these peasants around it. And no doubt the military presence, the messenger station must always be maintained here in the Dayu Valley, but the population, as you said, continues to drop. They continue to suffer. and Clan Baiko grows ever poorer. So our heroes eventually continue on, the Kuni witch hunters searching out more evil spirits, more Tengu, more blood sorcerers if they can ever find one. And that will conclude our adventures in the Valley of the Wind. So do you guys want to say goodbye to our audience? Do you want to again say who you are, where you're from, and if you do have any channel to promote?
I'm good, thanks. I'm Sean. Thanks for watching.
Yep. Kyle, I'd just like to thank DM David here for a wonderful game. Had a lot of fun.
Well, and thank you guys for participating. So I'm going to end the broadcast at this point. Until we see our audience again, good day and good gaming to them all.